Star Captain Urich was something rare among Clan Ghost Bear. He was impatient. Waiting a mere 5 minutes past the scheduled 0900 commencement of today's meeting already had him angry enough to challenge his counterpart to a circle of equals for their tardiness. If the Khan hadn't expressly forbidden such actions, he would have done so. Instead, he waited another 2 minutes in barely restrained rage before Star Captain Peter Lindstrom, formerly captain of the Kungsarmé, strode into view with his entourage in tow. The officer stopped before Urich and saluted crisply, ignoring the obviously clenched jaw that kept the clanner from spewing epithets. "Star Captain," Lindstrom began. "Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm here representing the Kungsarmé and the people of Razahog for the upcoming discussions concerning a new, jointly developed battle mech." Urich straightened, then barked. "I am Star Captain Urich. I have been ordered by the Khans of the Ghost Bear clan to determine a suitable battle mech for future deployment amongst both the clan and spheroid contingents of our Toman." Lindstrom assumed a parade rest stance. "You seem somewhat perturbed, Star Captain." "This meeting was to begin nearly 10 minutes ago," he snarled. "Then, let's not delay any further," Lindstrom said, smiling as the contraction made the clanner's lip curl even further. Despite the cantankerous beginnings, the meeting itself was relatively calm and productive. Urich shouted out demands for a heavy battle mech that offered unparalleled agility, noting how the true-born warriors of Clan Ghost Bear often found themselves outmaneuvered by the word of Blake's Omnimex. Lindstrom merely smiled and nodded as the clanner spouted technical requirements that were mostly beyond his understanding. "The new Type 4 heavy improved jump jets will be ideally suited to reposition the mech anywhere on the battlefield," Urich said, "while adequate distribution of Arcadia Compound Delta 7 ferrofibrous armor will offer protection superior to the Summoner. You may recall this mech under the designation Thor, Kuyaf?" "Yes, I recall," Lindstrom murmured, remembering how his Victor had been so thoroughly dismantled early in the clan invasion by just such a mech. "And you're saying that this proposed machine will be even faster than a Thor?" Urich grunted in annoyance at the question. Then pulled up the proposed schematics on a datapad and tossed it at the Kungsarmé officer. "Over 10% increased running speed and more than 60% longer jump range." Lindstrom knew enough that such speeds and flight times were unheard of for a heavy mech. He whistled in awe, but then stopped. "You haven't discussed weapons. What of armaments?" Urich flinched at the question, or perhaps his use of contractions. Lindstrom couldn't say. "Weapons are of a secondary concern. Beyond ammunition independence, I propose a simple complement of 1 heavy and 2 extended range medium lasers." Now it was Lindstrom's turn to balk. That sounds hardly as much as a wolfhound," he griped. "I understand and support an emphasis on speed and protection, but I do not want to be accused of bringing a clan tech charger to the Kungsarmé." "Neg," Urich waved a dismissive hand. "Clan-built weapons are vastly superior to spheroid arms. Our new Series 4D-2 heavy large laser has double the output of any sphere-built laser." Very well," Lindstrom replied. Although he didn't sound convinced, he still signed the build order request on Urich's offered datapad. "The Kungsarmé approves of your proposal." "Bargained well and done," Urich said, quickly gathering up his datapads to bring to the scientist cast. Just over a year after his meeting, Star Captain Peter Lindstrom found himself in the cockpit of the very first prototype Kuma, as the mech had been called, for its shakedown run. As expected, he was duly impressed by the battle mech's speed, although he nearly toppled after landing his first jump. Combat trials against a simulated clan opponent of roughly equal mass went far less smoothly, with Lindstrom and the Kuma succumbing in approximately 80% of one-on-one duels. After his final trial against a vulture left the Kuma on its back, Lindstrom could be seen muttering to himself in Swedenese as he extracted himself from the cockpit, Clan technicians didn't understand most of what they heard, but they did understand the angry tone when Lindstrom practically shouted what would become the Kuma's diminutive nickname. Charger 2C! The Kuma was a mech made for political expediency as much as rearming the Ghost Bear Toman. Like most militaries following the Jihad, the Ghost Bears needed to quickly replace lost mechs and warriors. The Bears were better off than most in that warriors could be promoted from within the former Kungsarmé of the Rasahog Republic, but tensions in the Ghost Bear dominion between Spheroid-born and Clan-born remained high. To support integration between the Razahagian and Clan militaries, Khans Aletha Kabrinsky and Ragnar Magnusson ordered a new mech to be jointly developed by the two groups. Surprising both Khans, both parties quickly reached a consensus and proposed a heavy battle mech with high mobility and armor protection and an ammo-independent armament for extended operations. This was likely to address a shortcoming in the Ghost Bear Toman, which lacked heavy units to support cavalry formations. Well, the Kungsarmé was more than satisfied to present Razahog-born pilots with a fully clan-tech mech regardless of its configuration, secure in the knowledge that it would outclass any of the ancient relics that composed the bulk of their former regiments. The resulting Kuma, the Japanese word for bear, was somewhat unbalanced. It was undeniably fast for a 60-ton chassis, boasting a top speed of 97 kilometers per hour. It was also capable of launching itself as far as a spider on 8 improved jump jets. More than adequate defense was provided by 10.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor, and 11 double heat sinks maintained a modicum of cooling. Where the Kuma fell short was in weapons. So much of the design was focused on maneuverability that very little consideration was given to firepower, leaving the Kuma with just 3 weapons to draw upon in an engagement. 1 heavy large laser mounted in the left arm, and 2 extended range medium lasers mounted in the right arm. This put the Kuma's firepower on par with some Succession Wars era medium designs, and some pilots gave the Kuma the unfortunate moniker of Charger 2C. However, not all pilots found the Kuma's lack of offense a total detriment. The Kuma excelled as a lead in heavy scout formations and was a capable support element in cavalry stars. More importantly, the Ghost Bears needed the Kuma to be a success story, a symbol of the integration of Razahog and clan militaries. As such, the Kuma was ordered into production and given to both freeborn and trueborn warriors in equal numbers. Total production remains limited, however, perhaps as an acknowledgement that a Toman consisting of mostly Kumas would require a radical adjustment to Ghost Bear military doctrine. Attempts were made to refine the Kuma, but none addressed the general lack of offensive capability. The Kuma II, introduced in 3083, removed the improved jump jets for standard models, reducing the Kuma's jump range to 180 meters. Its armament was improved marginally by replacing the heavy large laser with a plasma cannon and the medium lasers with an ATM-9 launcher combined with 4 tons of ammunition, ensuring the mech rarely suffered logistics issues. The Kuma III was more a proof of concept than an actual battle mech. Introduced in 3085, the Kuma III mounted an advanced 420 XXL engine, bringing its running speed up to 118 kilometers per hour and allowing an impressive 10 improved jump jets to catapult the 60-ton machine up to 300 meters. However, this extreme agility came at the cost of all but 4.5 tons of armor, and all available weapon space save for a single external gun pod that was only useful for training purposes. The Kuma IV arrived in 3141 with a greater emphasis on defense. As with the Kuma II, the improved jump jets were swapped in favor of fewer standard jump jets, but instead of adding additional weapons, the freed up space was used to install a hard gel 2 repair system. This made the mech exceptionally durable and gave the Kuma incredible battlefield endurance, with pilots able to leverage the Kuma's speed to disengage and partially repair before continuing the fight. Today, the Kuma is more common in provisional garrison clusters and frontline galaxies in the Razahog Dominion. Though Kumas can still be seen leading scout and cavalry stars, The more modern Rhyme Otter is a vastly superior frontline combatant, offering a similar movement profile with more than triple the Kuma's allotment of available weaponry. Still, L-Shane Battleworks continues to produce the Kuma in limited quantities to ensure the Charger 2C survives at least until the second half of the current century.